Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very accomplished professional entrepreneur and author from India and the US, Mr. Raam Anand. Raam, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh. Nice to be here, and thank you for inviting me on the show.
Thank you. Raam is the founder, chief editor, and publishing coach at Stardom Books. He's a best-selling author, and all of you know I'm very partial to authors. He's a best-selling author of the book titled Right Now, and you can see the book behind him. He's the publishing director to first-time authors. He has published more than 200 books so far, and he's the creator of Authority Influencer Roadmap. So, Raam, let me start by asking you about your own journey. Tell me about your journey in brief.
Yes, sir. See, my story actually started 20 years ago, the story which brought me here today. So before that, I was into programming. I'm not a writer by profession or by skill or by education. So I started my journey as a programmer in a banking industry. And in the year 2000, I decided I don't want to live in these four white walls in a cubicle. So I decided to move out. But then, as you know, life, when you come out of that comfort zone, you come across a lot of pitfalls and invisible, walls standing in your way. So my entrepreneurial journey started that way. And one thing led to the other. And then I realized I had to create influence in my marketplace because people didn't know me, especially when I went to US to start off my career in my entrepreneurial journey. People didn't know who I am, what I did, didn't care anything about me because they didn't know me. I didn't know them. So I realized that I had to create influence. And one thing that led me to that influence was figuring out that I had to write a book because with a book, I could gain that authority and influence. And that was also like my heroes and sheroes that I read when I was growing up, they all had tremendous influence. Then I realized they all had influence because they were authors in different industries. And that's how it led me to write my first book. And I couldn't find a publisher. So, and then Amazon came to the rescue. I self-published my work back then. And then I started teaching people how to do that. And that itself became my mission, like helping people find their message and also give it their structure so that they can courageously, tell their message, spread it in a big way in the form of a book. And when you have your message dialed in, now that can come out in the form of a book, it can come out in the form of a video, it can become your movement. You can do all things with your message, provided you have created your message in the first place. So that's how it all started. And a few years back, I started and founded Stardom Books to help first-time non-writers and non-fiction writers who wanted to, write their own books, who had no idea of writing a book. So it all started that way. And today I'm so blessed to be honored to be able to serve thousands of first-time authors all over the world. And we have actually published 200 plus authors from Stardom Books as well.
Amazing.
So far. And that's my quick journey.
Amazing. And as they say, the rest is history. Well done. So let's talk about Stardom Books. Sorry, you're saying?
Everyone has got their history to make, and they are in the process of making their own history.
Absolutely. Well said. So let's talk about Stardom Books. You help authors to publish and market a book. I have three questions for you in that area. Number one, what goes into writing a book?
Right. The most important part of writing a book, when most people, especially first-time authors, when they think about writing a book, the first thing that pops in their mind is, what topic should I write? That is where they usually start.
Correct.
But I would say, in my experience, that is not the best place or the first place you need to look at. There are two other steps before that. Actually, what should be we should be thinking about as a first step would be to, why am I writing a book in the first place? So what is the reason? Do I have a message to share with the world? And what is going to be that message? What are these? The next step would be to find who are these people that I'm trying to reach out to. And most people, when they try to write their book, they try to put everything they know into their first book because they want to make the best effort, and they want to write a best book. That's the dream of many people.
Correct.
And that's what leads them to get overwhelmed in the first place. Like, if you try to put everything into one book, it will become an encyclopedia. So, and then it will go all over the place. And many people also think writing a book means sharing their personal journey, which may not be always true. You don't have to share your personal journey always.
Correct.
And especially when you are in today's world, the attention span of people is coming down.
Yeah.
And people want fast gratification, quick gratification, instant gratification, I would say. So they want instant results. They want your perspective. They want your insights, but they want to get it fast. They want step by step. Tell me 10 things to do. I will do it. And don't bore me with your stories and your backdrop and other things. So that's what I would say. What goes into a book, especially a non-fiction business book, is like teaching. So what is it that you want to teach, and how soon and how simply you can teach and make it. See, the idea of writing a book is to make complex things simpler. It's not the other way around.
Correct.
So when most people start writing their book, they try to complicate things. It's all the, it's the reverse of what that should be done. In my experience, I'm saying. So I would say, when we coach our authors, I would say, take a complex subject, break it down, make it simpler so anyone can understand.
Wonderful. My second question is, what goes into publishing a book?
Well said. Publishing a book today, because the last 20 years, like any other industry, the publishing industry has transformed itself. It's so different. 20 years ago, only writers were able to get publishers to publish their books.
Correct.
Now anyone can publish a book because there is technology, and because of technology, the resources a book needs can be gathered. Today, you can be sitting anywhere in the world. You can be sitting in Delhi, Bangalore, or Timbuktu, and still you have access to excellent writers, excellent editors, graphic designers, whatever it takes for a book to take shape. That can be accessed sitting anywhere in the world. And getting a publisher means it's not going to be the traditional way. Of course, there are traditional publishers there as well. So they work in a different model. And now at the other end of the spectrum, like, you can also self-publish your work. Like, there is Amazon, there are many other self-publishing platforms available. And in the middle, people like us, like Stardom Books is a hybrid publishing house. Like, we took the best of both worlds and said, okay, we will not only help our authors create their book, give them the structure, bring all the resources together, but you'll also give them the freedom of self-publishing, so that they retain that freedom, they retain the copyright, they retain that the proud feeling that they get involved in the project as well. So there are 2-3 different ways.
Fabulous. And my third sub question is, what goes into marketing a successful book?
Perfect. See, like any other product, today books are also marketed as products. And luckily, books have got its own network, because the publishing industry has developed their network of distributors and retailers and readers. And today, technology has helped create and expand this marketplace and make it democratized for all people all over the world. It is today possible, especially after Amazon came into the picture. They democratized the entire publishing industry. And they said, even if you don't have a publisher, we still can get your message out in a big way.
Correct.
And that is what is happening. More and more offline bookstores, the brick and mortar bookstores, are closing down.
Correct.
And at the same time, online books and online media and online publishing is taking a very big, phenomenal growth is happening in that area. Like, more and more people are able to access. Earlier, when we were children, I think you can relate. We were growing up, our biggest source of information was the local library.
Correct.
But whatever information books they had in the library were only accessible for us. We couldn't go to a bigger library in a different city, because that was not feasible for us.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. In your phone, you can access anybody's work. Within seconds, it is available. And that's what has changed the industry to such an extent.
Amazing. My next question to you is that, you spoke, briefly about Amazon and what they're doing. How is technology changing publishing?
Technology is a very big enabler, I would say. because as we were talking a few moments ago, technology has helped gain more market share in this.
Correct.
Now authors are able to gain more reader base, and readers are able to access more authors. Because gaining access to authors is like getting into their brains. Authors try to distill their knowledge and their wisdom and their perspective into their books. And all authors, I would say, without any exception, they want to give the best of what they know in their
Absolutely.
books. So they have a very great intention when they write books.
Correct.
And that intention will get intensified when people get access to that. When I write a book and it gets accessed by people. So that is what technology has worked for us, and for both from the reader's perspective and from the author's perspective. And the other part of this trifecta is the publisher's perspective as well. And earlier, without technology, we used to rely only on manual distribution of books with through bookstores.
Correct.
And bookstores, they cannot stock or display, like maybe they can display 100, 200, 500 books in their store, depending on the size of the book, size of the store. But today, online bookstores like Amazon or Kobo or Barnes and Noble, there are 100, Google Books, iBooks, they all can access data. They are driven by data now. So if they know that Ashutosh is looking for a management-related book, they will start showing. They use data, the big data, and all this amazing technology is coming. The AI revolution is happening. So all these technologies can now be used to spread the message more in a bigger way all over the world, I would say.
Well said. The next question is that, I worked with 4 major publishing houses, and every publishing house has a few superstar big authors. When their books are being scheduled for publication, all other work seems to get, stopped, because that's a bread and butter author for them. My question is, how does a publishing house handle the big authors?
Great question. See, as we all know, publishing industry has also transformed drastically. Earlier, there used to be the traditional publishers, what we call today as traditional publishers. So they have this system, like they had access to the distributors and retailers, and the access was limited. I mean, when there is a big author involved, they had to channelize all their resources to work on this particular big author, so that the publishers used to make money only with selling of books earlier.
Correct.
And the books sold, they take the money from the book, because they used to print an inventory of books. They used to print, depending on the author, they used to print 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, even 50,000 copies of a book. And they make their money only if all these books are sold. And the traditional publishing model involved selling the books through bookstores. But today, it is all print on demand, and the same thing has changed a lot, and all the marketing is now happening mostly online. And the biggest difference, I would say, is now author is also involved in marketing. So whenever there is a big launch is happening, see, most people actually buy books not because a publishing house has published this book. People buy books because the author this is a famous author. He has written, or she has written a book on this topic, and I should buy this. Or the other one is word of mouth. Somebody has told them, okay, I read a book by Ashutosh, you should read it too. Even if they don't read, they will go buy the book. Correct. Because it just come as a recommendation from someone they trust and they know and like. So now with technology, books are all available online, and I would say more than 80%, close to 80% of sales are happening through online channels than people picking up books by going to a bookstore. Exception is the airport bookstores.
Correct. Well said. My next question is that, now with so many authors coming from India, do you see Indian publishing companies collaborating with international publishers to broad-base the market for Indian authors?
Absolutely, yes. Because again, now books don't have barriers. Books don't have borders in the first place.
Correct.
So any book that can be published in India can also be published internationally.
Absolutely.
Because now we don't have to print and maintain an inventory of copies. That is the biggest game changer, I will tell you. Because all our books, for example, books published by Stardom, we don't print and stock books anywhere in the world. Like we don't print it in the US, nor we print it in India or any other place. Let's say somebody in Japan orders a book. It is printed in the nearest printing facility.
Wow. Okay.
We have printing arrangements all over the world, on all the different continents and different countries. Someone in Australia buys a book, prime delivery. Next day they will get the book delivered. How? Because it is not stocked or shipped anywhere from another part of the world. It is printed and shipped right there in the nearest printing facility. And that's what the POD has done. And that's how, whether you are Indian or Cambodian or from Africa, anywhere, anyone is, now those authors are all can be or can become internationally published authors, because books can have that kind of a network. It is available already.
Well said. My next question is an area that you are an expert in. How does a first-time author find a publisher?
Right. So usually first-time authors struggle with finding the topic of their book. And the second thing is, when they know that they have a topic, and maybe they have created a little manuscript, or they have attempted to create their work in the form of a first draft or a manuscript. Now the next big hurdle for them is to go find a publisher.
Correct.
And usually in the Western countries, there used to be people like publishing agents.
Yeah.
So the agents would try to match. These are like matchmakers. They will find a publisher and they will find an author who wants a publisher. They will match them both, and then they will take a cut in that deal, whatever that deal happens to be. But today it's the other way around. Today you don't have to be a writer to in order to publish a book. Today we can gather all the resources. And now again, as I told you, there is a self-publishing way to publish, and there is a traditional publishing way to publish. And the problem with traditional publishers is they get many book proposals. They come there. Usually a very big publishing house will get dozens, maybe hundreds of book proposals every week. So, and that is the reason why they have bucketed themselves into certain genres. Like some publishers say we publish only romantic novels. Some people will say, no, we do only business how-to books. Some publishers will say, no, our genre is only this category, so we don't enter into any other category, because they have built their expertise in that category. But today, it's all like getting wider and bigger, and finding a publisher is not going to be difficult in the current era, provided there are certain steps to follow. If you want a traditional publisher, you reach out to them. That's the best way. And sometimes there are also agents who can help you find a publisher, or you can self-publish, or there are hybrid publishing houses like Stardom.
Well said. So one more question on Stardom, and then I'll come to your book. How are ebooks and audiobooks impacting the publishing business?
Great question. Which is, audiobooks are very integral part of book publishing process now, because and ebooks as well. See, I would say, because when we publish in all different editions: paperback, hardcover, ebook, and audiobook versions. The reason is the consumers are different for each one of these categories.
Right.
Sometimes, people who are on the go today, and audiobooks have picked up, like people are listening. I'm listening. When I go for a walk, I would prefer listening to an audiobook. And audiobooks are a different experience. And reading a physical book, ruffling through the pages, that is a different experience. Correct. And ebooks also play a very important role, because it depends on the genre, on the topic of the book. Let's say one of my authors is a joint pain specialist. So when you're having a joint pain, you want immediate results. You want immediate resolution of the problem. So you don't want to order a book, wait till next day for the book to arrive, or you don't even want to go to a store and pick up the book. You want it right now. So what you do normally, you go on your phone and search knee pain. Suddenly a book pops up. Okay, there's a book on knee pain. Having knee pain, here's the solution. So you want that downloaded instantly. You only want a part of that book. So ebook fulfills that need. So when we advise our authors, we would say, go with, because anyway, it is your message. Whether it is coming in the form of an audio or an ebook or a physical book or a hardcover, there are many fans of or book readers who only prefer hardcover. It doesn't make any difference to the interiors, right? The content is the same. but they prefer hardcovers. I prefer hardcover because I want to keep the book. I want to, my library to look good. I don't want the book to, look or degrade. Like, the paperback, you get, pages all disfigured sometimes.
Yeah.
There are people consume content in different ways. So it's, as a creator, when an author is creating something, I would suggest go and spread your message in as many different formats as possible, because all of them are coming back to you. And sometimes it has happened like this. I listened to an audiobook. I'm so impressed with the audiobook. I ordered the print edition as well. Because there are some references. Correct. In print editions, you can go back and forth quickly, easily. Whereas in audiobook, it is linear.
Correct.
So you have to rewind and get back. It is a bit of a hassle.
Well said. Well said. Well said. So Ram, let's now move to your book. And before we start talking about the book, I just want to ask all our viewers and listeners to go and check out Mr. Raam Anand's book right now on Amazon and other platforms. I will go and check it out myself. So Ram, tell me about the book right now, and what was your hypothesis when you wrote it?
Very good question, sir. Right now, as the name suggests, it is all about helping people bring that courage in the first place. So most people, I would say, they have that message inside them. They have a story to share with the world. But what they don't have is usually that courage to say, well, some people will even say, who am I to write a book? I'm not that big enough to write a book. I'm not a celebrity to write a book. I'm not that knowledgeable to write a book. So they say all these excuses. They give all these excuses. But the real feeling inside them is that feeling of, that courage is lacking. Or sometimes even self-esteem is lacking. So this book is all about giving people enough reasons and the logical and emotional reasons to help them understand, look, it is okay to share your message. It need not be a big, extraordinary, earth-shattering breakthrough. It could be your story. It could be your perspective. There are people out there who need that perspective. And there are people out there who are making the same mistakes maybe that you have done before and you have corrected. Maybe that could be a very valuable insight that other people can benefit from. So what happens when you share your story? It gives hope and help to many people. And that's what people want. If they want information, they will go to Google. I mean, Google has done a fantastic job of putting all the information together. But what if people want wisdom? What if people want perspective? What if people want do this 1, 2, 3 things? That kind of instructional message.
Correct.
What if they want that prescription to do something? So that is when this book is all about giving people all those reasons and ideas and ways you can use a book. I mean, all books are not created equal. Like there are many different kinds of books that you can create. If you want to generate leads, there is a certain book you can create. If you want to get into the media, you can create a certain kind of book. When people understand, okay, these are the possibilities, maybe they will think about writing a book, and that is my mission.
Fascinating. So I have time for 2 more questions. My next question is that you are the creator of Authority Influencer Roadmap. What is this? And tell me a little more. See, when we started working at Stardom and working with the top leadership, different industries, non-writers, first-time authors, there are all these busy people, and sometimes they don't have the time to write and publish a book. But now they all had this idea of writing a book. That was a dream. Like, no, one day I have to write a book. So then it all started, creating this big mission we wanted to create. I realized it's not actually about writing a book. It is about becoming an influencer. What is the bedrock of all authors? Like, why would people want to write a book in the first place? Maybe they want to influence. They want to influence others in a positive way. And what happens when they influence and write a book? They become authority, because the root word of authority is being an author. It comes from author being an authority. Correct.
Then we realize, okay, there are the biggest reason why someone wants to write a book is because they have a message to share with the world.
Correct.
And book is one way to share that message. Maybe there are other ways. Maybe you can derive a speech out of your book. Maybe you can derive a video course out of your book. Maybe there are different ways maybe it can become a documentary. Maybe it can become a movie as well. We don't know. So what we thought at Authority Influencer is, let us give a roadmap for people so that they can follow this step-by-step process and realize that they have a message to share. And then they can decide whichever way they want to get this message out. It could be a book or a video or a movie or a cinema, whatever they want to do. So that is what Authority Influencer is. It's a 9-step roadmap which people can download for free on authority-influencer.com. They can go there and download this roadmap.
Fascinating.
It's a one-page roadmap.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And I'm sure our viewers and listeners will go and check this out. And my last question to you, Ram, and based on your incredible journey as a publisher and as an author, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want our viewers and listeners to take away, especially if they are aspiring writers or authors?
Great question. Ashutosh, I would say, see, the history of humanity has only 2 narratives, struggle and progress. All of us have experienced a fair share of both. We all had an experience of struggle and progress. It has happened in everybody's life. So I believe the first lesson is everyone has a story to share with the world.
Correct.
My first lesson.
Yeah.
The second takeaway, I would say, I would like to tell people, especially the listeners of this show, that you are way more bigger, better, and greater than you think. Don't underestimate yourself. You are definitely way bigger, better, and greater than you think. And the third takeaway, I would say, concerning about the process of book writing, you don't have to be a celebrity to write a book. In fact, today it's the other way around. You become a celebrity after writing a book like you. It's possible.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And on that note, and your 3 amazing lessons, which is everyone has a story to tell, to share. And as the old line says, everyone has a book inside them. The second one you said, which is so powerful, that you are way more than you think of yourself. Don't underestimate yourself. And the third one you said was, you don't have to be a celebrity to share your story, to write a book. Thank you, Ram, for talking to me about your journey. Thank you for talking to me about Stardom books. And, I think the kind of opportunities you're giving to so many first-time authors is something that, as one would say, is going to be doing some great karma for you also. Thank you also for talking to me about your book right now. Thank you again for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Nice. And thank you so much for having me on this show. And I hope it serves if you or somebody at least.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.